Hi everyone, my name is Kaylee Blakeman and this is my second learning teaching interaction. First, I want to talk a little bit about stories. Stories can help a learner to see abstract principles in real life situations. I think it's important for the teacher to provide stories, but I also think it's important for the teacher to ask the learner for experiences that they may have had that reflect the principles that they're learning. Also, it's important to find real life stories that have moral principles and then ask the learner what principles they gain from that story. This can help the learner to be more engaged in the discussion, and it can also help them to help you to see it if they were listening or if they have questions or if they need help with something. The second part I want to talk about is teaching with the Spirit. So some of the things we can do to invite the Spirit are to make sure we're reading our scriptures and obeying the commandments, and also saying a prayer and keeping a prayer in our heart. These types of things can invite the Spirit when we're preparing a lesson, as well as when we're teaching a lesson. It can help us to constantly have the Spirit with us when we're actively doing these things. Inviting the Spirit can help us to have open minds. It can give Heavenly Father the power to open our minds, help us to say what needs to be said, and give guidance on what needs to be said or what the learner may need to hear that day, or how we can reach out to them in the best way. Heavenly Father knows us the best and knows our learners the best, and so it's important for us to have the Spirit with us so that we can invite so that we can touch the hearts of both the learner and we can have our hearts touched as well. When we have the Spirit, we help others to feel the Spirit. This can help us to feel connected on a deeper level rather than just on a superficial level. When we both have the Spirit, this can help us to feel connected to our audience or to our learner and help them to feel connected to us. It can also help us to incorporate reason with revelation without actually giving the revelation right out. It can help us to, for those who aren't part of our religion, to help them see the principles in our religion through reason and through the Spirit that we have. The third thing I want to talk about is the discussion. It's important to involve the participant/learner in the discussion. Otherwise, you're going to have boredom, or not listening, doing other things, thinking about other things. So it's important to involve the participant. It's also important to, I think it's important to use demonstration and apply knowledge. We can use demonstration through role playing, through giving experiences and asking questions on what that person would have done in that situation, or giving them ideas on what they could do differently, or how they think a different reaction would help the situation, and also to apply the knowledge. And we can do that by giving them goals at the end of the lesson, or having them think of a couple of goals that they can use, that they can work on throughout that week with the principles that they've learned in the lessons throughout that day. By having a discussion, the participant can be more engaged, they'll be more willing to listen, and they'll learn more. It's important for the teacher to ask thought-provoking questions, and then after asking the question, to give them time to answer. Sometimes people need a minute to think about what they want to say, or to think of an experience that they want to give, or something like that. So you don't want to shut them out by not giving them enough time to think about what they want to say. It's important to balance between teacher and learner. Sometimes if the teacher just keeps lecturing and lecturing and lecturing, then the learner isn't going to listen, or they're going to get bored. So it's important to have the teacher and learner balanced throughout the discussion. And then the last part of the discussion I want to talk about is to to prepare what and how, and balance between the two. So first you need to prepare what you're going to teach, but you also need to prepare how you're going to teach. And it's important to use a variety of hows. There's different ways a person can teach, and there's different ways people learn. And so it's important to use a variety of hows and different ways to engage people in a discussion. The last part I want to talk about is gaining a rapport with your learner. I think a good way to do this is to truly listen to that person and try to understand where they're coming from, or why they do what they do, or anything like that, and show genuine interest in what they're saying and what their experiences are. Acknowledge their feelings, acknowledge who they are. And then the second part is not to judge them. I know when I feel like I'm being judged that I don't open up as much, and I kind of close down and I don't want to talk. I've noticed this when I've gone to the doctor and trying to get information on things. There's one doctor that I can tell by the way he answers my questions or the things he says that he's judging me. And so it's important for us. So then I just kind of back down and I don't ask any more questions and I don't say anything else. And so it's important for us not to judge others. And they may have specific reasons why they do what they do, or they may just not know what they're supposed to do that's different. The third thing is to be sensitive to the differences of others. I think this creates a mutual learning environment, and we need to remember that everyone is different. This can lead to respect for the teacher, respect for the learner, and it can invite a more openness. By developing a rapport between the teacher and the learner, it leads to more involvement from the learner and more openness from them. They'll be more willing to participate in the discussion, and I think that helps a lot. So that's the end of my learning teaching discussion. Thanks.